From the San Antonio Spurs winning the lottery and the chance to land the unicorn, to getting someone who could do a little bit of everything, here's how Victor Wembanyama could change this NBA team. First up, the San Antonio Spurs are the lucky team to win the 2023 lottery, and if everything goes according to plan, Wembanyama will be playing for the team in the 2023-2024 season. Considering how poorly the last few years have gone for the Spurs, this might just be the best thing to happen for them. A player like Wembanyama is bound to change not only the team's fortunes, but also have an impact on the entire league and generations to come. The hype is very much real. It's so real that fans actually expect Greg Popovich to end up staying for another couple of years. For the Spurs fans, this is already a win-win situation, and gives us a closer look at how Victor's already influencing the team he'll eventually join. The team was tied with the Hornets, Pistons, and Rockets with the best odds of landing Victor, and when the lottery concluded, the first pick for the 2023 NBA Draft went to the Spurs. The Hornets got the second pick. Meanwhile, the Rockets and the Pistons ended up with the fourth and fifth picks respectively. Portland Trail Blazers managed to sneak into the top three. And with plenty of other talent set to be on the cards, this draft class promises to be a really interesting one. As far as the Spurs are concerned, they wouldn't care what happens after they make their first pick, which will definitely be Victor Wembanyama. Unless, of course, the unthinkable happens. I doubt it, because the Spurs are known for their ability to cultivate young talent, and this is the most promising one in the draft class since LeBron James. Meaning that Victor's the biggest talent to come in over the last 2 decades. The player's hype train has been unstoppable since the 2022 summer, and anyone who saw him play before that too was impressed with just how high his ceiling is. Wembanyama truly exploded in the US when he came with his team, Metropolitans 92, to take on the G League Ignite for a couple of games in Las Vegas. Those games were televised live all across the country, and people couldn't believe what they were seeing. A 7-foot-plus giant playing like a point guard, dominating the best young talent America had to offer in the NBA. It was truly mind-blowing, and not a surprise that Wemby had everyone on strings. Even the biggest NBA stars were caught off guard by some of the things that he did, and everyone took notice of his quality. From LeBron James and Kevin Durant to Steph Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo, everyone loved what they saw. And we're very excited to potentially play against Wembanyama and see him do all that in the NBA too. That was probably when everyone knew that Vic will become the #1 pick ahead of the 2023 draft. But not because the rest of the draft class is poor. No sir. Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller are outstanding among many others. But Wembanyama is a once-in-a-lifetime talent who is so good that Pops is considering staying. As I mentioned earlier, Popovich, who has been coaching the San Antonio Spurs since 1996, was seriously considering calling it a day at the end of the 2023 season. The 5-time NBA champ is considered the greatest coach in the history of the sport, winning the NBA Coach of the Year award on 3 different occasions, and developing generation after generation of world-class talent and teams for San Antonio. He's known for his knack of getting the most out of his players, and most of the biggest stars in the NBA. From the likes of Tim Duncan to Kawhi Leonard, all contribute their successes to Popovich's brilliance. So when the Spurs won the lottery, people knew that Greg would at least reconsider his decision to retire, and that's exactly what he ended up doing. I mean, who'd possibly want to overlook a talent like Wembanyama? And if he ends up staying for another couple of seasons, Spurs fans will already be grateful to Victor for making an impact long before he arrived. According to the rumor mill, Popovich actually flew to France right after the Spurs won the lottery.
Is the NBA, what are the San Antonio Spurs getting with Victor Wembanyama?
A team player. I'm going to make everything to win as many games as I can, and I'm trying to win a ring ASAP.
And according to Jeremy Woo, the legendary coach made the trip to meet with the young star. Of course, whatever was discussed hasn't been made public, but a talent like Wemby would want to know if he's playing under a legendary coach like Pops or not. That won't be the only change he brings about in San Antonio though, because as per Wemby himself, the Spurs will be getting a team player. That's the biggest quality one could ask for, especially in a young talent. Given the modern sporting culture and the emphasis placed on individual quality and stardom, it's easy to get carried away with individual success. But at the end of the day, basketball is a team sport, and you're remembered for the number of rings you win, not for the number of MVP awards you stack up. As far as Victor's concerned, he's going to be a great team player, because that's exactly what everyone who has worked with him mentions too. The player's known for his ability to make the team better, and when you're that special, it's not a surprise that the overall quality of the team improves too. But Wembanyama is more than happy to sacrifice his favorite position to fill in for whatever the team needs. Victor doesn't like playing center, and he's made it clear. But on many occasions, when the team has needed him to play that position, he did it without a fuss and brilliantly too. In fact, he's always taken pride in team achievements, and that's what he's promising the San Antonio faithful too. Wembanyama's asked them to get ready because he wants to win a ring ASAP, and the rebuild should speed up pretty fast once Victor arrives. Regardless of whether he hits the ground running or not, Wembanyama has the potential to do enough to lift the Spurs out of the lottery places and take them to contenders for the playoffs. You see, before anyone gets to see just how good he really is and whether that hype translates well enough in the NBA, the front office will immediately look to surround him with good players. The decision makers know that they're getting a special talent and would want to ensure that they get decent pieces with the cap space they have, instead of letting their crucial assets walk away. It's unlikely to see the Spurs going for a win-now approach immediately, but they'll be looking to surround Victor with much better players than we've seen in recent seasons. Of course, getting greedy isn't the best of ideas. That was one of the reasons the Cleveland Cavaliers couldn't maximize LeBron's potential, and the Pelicans failed to do the same when they got lucky with the Anthony Davis pick. But I don't expect someone with decades of experience like Popovich to make that same mistake. He'll allow Wembanyama's ability to run its course, instead of pressuring him to win now. Regardless of what the Spurs plan to do with him, they'll be getting someone who can do everything to an incredibly good degree. That's the beauty of getting in a skyscraping rim protector, but one that can dribble, pass, and shoot. Victor's got the skill set to play on the perimeter on both ends, and considering the lack of talent on the current Spurs roster, one can expect Wembanyama to be the leading figure as soon as he lands. More importantly, Wemby's one of the many brilliant Frenchmen to achieve success with the Spurs, and the organization's ability to get the most out of talented big men is going to be the key. Victor's the type of player who hates being limited to the role of a center. He won't be happy standing under the rim with his arms up. Instead, he'll be someone who handles the face-up on the offense and gets in through the wing. The player's got the footwork and the shooting touch to pull up from a distance and the ability to drive to the basket. And so, it'll be fascinating to see how the Spurs handle him. If they choose to play a traditional 5 next to Wemby, then will Devin Vassell be the ideal fit to come into the perimeter? There will be some major questions on how the team can go about their rebuild, and I expect them to surround Victor with a lot of good players in the offseason. The good thing is, they couldn't have hoped for a better person to lead the rebuild, and they'll be hoping Wembanyama's already done enough to ensure Pop sticks around long enough. So from getting someone who can do a little bit of everything, to the Spurs winning the lottery and getting the chance to land a unicorn, this is how Victor Wembanyama could change the NBA side.